Hey guys, welcome back to Lifestyle of the Plebe and Nameless. I'm Joan.
And I'm Coco. And this here is Bunny.
In this video, we will be continuing our Bridgerton Season 2 marathon, and we'll be doing our reaction to Episode 2.
If you haven't subscribed yet, we would love for you to join the PLEB family for more Bridgerton reactions.
Let's get started with the beginning of Episode 2.
Kate, she starts making a list of suitors that she approves of for Edwina. And we see at the very top of the list, Lord Lumley. And it's so funny, like, reading her list, all the different suitors, she writes, like, one great thing about them, like, loves animals, or speaks 4 different languages. Like, those are the things that she approves of for Edwina. And guys with titles.
Obviously, Anthony's not on that list.
And Lady Danbury sees that. Like, why is he not on the list?
As you see, like, all of the things that she put next to the guys' names, that's what's in her mind, what's ideal. They're not really relating to what Edwina actually likes. Because Edwina likes Anthony because he's cute looking.
He is. He's hot.
But we see a long line of suitors waiting for Edwina outside of the drawing room.
Anthony shows up.
I like how the guys are like, hey, don't cut in front of me.
Yeah, back at the queue, Bridgerton.
He wants to be her escort to the games.
To the royal races.
And Kate's like, sorry. She's got Lord Lumley.
And closes the door in his face. I couldn't believe that. This is not how you treat a Viscount, right? She doesn't care.
We see that Colin finally returns in this episode.
And I have to ask you a question.
No.
Facial hair?
No.
Or no facial hair?
No facial hair. Get that off.
I thought it makes him look distinguished.
Really?
I think it makes him look older and more mature.
I agree with Benedict. Like, you need to get that off your face.
I'm fine with him both ways. Penelope didn't mind the facial hair.
Yeah, she didn't.
Her eyes just lit up.
She's like, Colin. Colin! Anthony comes home from his courting and tells everyone that, yo, we need to go to the races together as a family, as one.
Because he wants to kind of show Edwina that he's a family man.
At the races, Edwina is escorted by Mr. Lumley, and they sit down at the benches, and Anthony pops up, and he tries to divert Mr. Lumley away to try to sit next to Edwina.
That was slick.
It's like, she wants some lemonade. Why don't you go fetch her some?
I mean, Lady Danbury was impressed.
Mm-hmm.
You can see she's sitting behind them and just watching the whole thing. She was amused.
Anthony knows how to do this. He's just super experienced. He sits in between Kate and Edwina.
He just took his seat. It was sly.
They start talking about the horses and see which one's gonna win.
I wouldn't call it talking. I'd call it arguing.
Oh yeah, it's definitely arguing.
And Kate was definitely schooling Anthony on horses.
Mm.
And I think she definitely won the argument.
She's super competitive whenever the race started.
That was so funny.
Know,
Like,
she
her
was-
acting was so good.
She was like whistling and screaming.
She was really into it. Even Anthony, like, looked at her like, well, girl.
Chill out, it's just a race.
And while Kate and Anthony is having their screaming match, basically, Mr. Dorset was like, should we separate them? I thought that was another good move by Anthony. How he made Dorset to go talk to Kate so that it creates a diversion so he can go in and talk to Edwina.
Mm-hmm.
Edwina was kind of impressed. I was impressed. Like, if a guy went to all that trouble to talk to me to get my attention, I would be flattered, just like Edwina was.
I can see it from Kate's standpoint because she's super protective of her sister. If a guy, he's trying to make like all of these moves, she thinks that he's trying to be sly, you know? Can we talk about how he shows up later with a horse?
Yes.
With a red bow on that horse.
It was so cute.
It was so funny.
It's kind of like akin to how people, like guys, buy a girl a car as a present and how they slap a big bow on it.
You're right.
The
It does
horse.
remind me of that.
And also at the races, we see Lady Danbury talking to Lady Bridgerton. And I love seeing them plotting again, just like in season 1.
The matchmakers.
Yes. They're trying to, you know, pull their strings again.
At the races, Eloise, she was looking around and she found a stand that sold pamphlets. And she discovers that on that pamphlet, it feels the same paper as Lady Whistledown's papers. And she goes to that publishing house. However, the publishing place was closed, but she ran into the worker at the shop. I'm wondering if he's that guy we saw in the trailer.
Yeah, it was the same guy.
It is that guy?
Yeah.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited.
Well, the footman wasn't so bad looking himself.
Oh, that is true.
Eloise is so lucky. She got all these cute guys all around her. And that's the footman she keeps bribing. Like the same one from season 1.
I feel like both of them were impressed by how she's very well read.
And very eloquent.
Mm-hmm.
And I really think Eloise really enjoyed her little conversation with the printer boy because after he left, she like looked back. Like, oh, who is that? And also in this episode, we have a wedding.
The first wedding of the season.
Between Finch and Philippa.
Congratulations to the newlywed couple.
I was actually surprised that it was such a small affair. I guess it just reflects how she doesn't have any money. But I really thought Lord Featherington
was gonna help pay for it.
Right, like he's been paying for everything else.
We see that during the wedding, Lady Featherington was looking for the new Lord Featherington, and she went into his study trying to see like, hey, do you need any help with like your businesses?
Yeah, she was trying to butter him up. Maybe try to have more say in money matters.
I think she was like referring to
herself.
Yeah, herself. Lord Featherington kind of like shut that down real quick. He's like, I'm already looking for like a new head of house.
And it happens to be Cressida. I never thought I would agree with anyone to be with Cressida, but I definitely can see her with him. And I would actually enjoy that because I think Cressida would make a great like sparring partner for Lady Featherington.
Like for Lady Featherington?
Yeah, to get on her nerves. Like that would make for some great scenes.
Oh my god.
Because I just see Cressida like throwing Lady Featherington out of her house and Lady Featherington not having any of it. And try to like get her back somehow.
I was just thinking, like, the new Lord Featherington, he's very charming. Everyone likes him, but man, he needs to level up on his taste.
Well, I think you can kind of see what kind of person Lord Featherington really is by the person he's choosing as his future partner. So that kind of hints to me like he's not such a great person.
Gotcha.
Because of his questionable taste in women.
Then we get to the soiree of this episode.
At Lady Danbury's house.
She thinks that it would be a nice opportunity to invite everyone, including the guys, to court the diamond of the season. It's a poetry night.
Yeah, and then the guys turned it into not just a poetry night.
A talent show.
And everyone is invited, basically, except for Anthony. And at the soiree, Eloise talks to Kate. And I kind of like their dynamic.
Future sister-in-law.
Possibly. Kate must have known that Anthony would figure it out. That he was the only one not invited. And the mother tells Anthony, like, hey, maybe you can learn a lesson out of this.
Savage.
Figure out why you're not invited.
But Anthony was still determined to go, so he goes to Benedict for help because he cannot do poetry. He brings a Lord Byron poetry book with him and asks Benedict for help.
And Benedict's like, no, not Lord Byron. And Benedict just spits out this greatest poem about women.
I was wooed.
I was melting. I was a puddle. And I was never really interested in Benedict before, but that just turned him to like a level 10.
After this, I was like, man, Benedict, you're so charming. Like, he's my new love interest of this season now.
That kind of makes me look forward to his season.
Anthony burst into the soiree, has his poem from Benedict ready to read it, but you could see that he's struggling with it and he doesn't finish it.
He sees Kate, he looks at her, and then he starts choking on his words because he realizes he's just putting on a show and he's lying. And he's like, oh, I can't lie to her.
Because he's not confident with those words, he doesn't believe in it.
I think he's like starting to respect Kate. He doesn't get along with her, but he has respect for her and he didn't want to lie to her. And that's why he kind of realizes and chokes on his words and then comes clean. Kate kind of looked at him like, okay, maybe he has a little bit of substance.
Yeah, because after that, it was kind of like just mic drop and leaves.
And Edwina is like swooning for him.
Edwina's like, that's my love language. My love language is actions.
Yes. I liked how Edwina stood up to her at that moment. She's like, no, that's a great thing what he did. He's actually a gentleman. And I really think like Kate hasn't really been looking out for Edwina. She's just thinking about herself. Because at the party, Lady Danbury goes and talks to Kate because Kate has stormed off. And Lady Danbury's like, are you really thinking about Edwina or are you thinking about this for yourself? Because Anthony's actually a great match for Edwina because he's a title person. He has a sense of duty. He would do what's best for his family.
Yeah, and who's to say they won't fall in love later on?
Exactly, and I feel like Edwina is falling in love with him.
But wow, Kate was like poking at Lady Danbury, saying that I'm happy being single. Aren't you single too?
Right! And then Lady Danbury puts her in her place. Like, look, woman, I've lived a life. I've been married, I'm a widow now, and I earned my place. So Lady Danbury is pretty much telling Kate, like, at some point, you're doing a disservice to your sister. Because you're putting all your priorities ahead of Edwina's priorities.
And I think that might be a turning point for her.
I think so.
Finally, at the soiree, Penelope and Colin get to talk to each other. Because they've been interrupted so many times throughout this episode.
By Eloise. And you can tell Pen, like, throughout the episode, she's starting to get so annoyed.
Even though they've been writing each other throughout Colin's travels, Penelope still wants to find out, like, have you seen anything interesting? Like, were you with anyone?
That's what she ultimately was trying to find out. Like, hey, so you met someone?
Colin's like, yeah, I did meet someone.
And he tricked me. He had me going at that point. Because he's like, yeah, I realized there was someone who I've known for a very long time. He had me thinking, oh yes, Pen.
Me too.
And then he goes, myself. I was so let down.
That tells me that Colin is still a child.
And he's like, I've sworn off women. Pen says, oh, but I'm a woman. And it broke my heart when Colin said, well, Pen, you don't count.
He said, you're just Pen.
Right.
I was like, ouch.
So he friend-zoned her.
He's gonna regret it later.
And did you see that look that Anthony gave to Kate when Kate came back into the room after her and Lady Danbury had a talk? Anthony notices her. He gives her a look, like a long look, and the mom sees. And Lady Danbury sees too. And then Lady Danbury and the mom looked at each other. Like, they're like, ooh, okay. There's something there.
Eloise shares with Penelope that she has made a big discovery on Lady Whistledown. Because she found the publishing place. And she notices the letter K on Lady Whistledown's paper. How it's slightly different. And Pen's like, oh, okay. And she hurries up and goes and buys herself a new K.
Yeah. And the modiste woman sees her.
Oh my god.
Ooh. She shouldn't have ran off. Because it makes her look even more suspicious. Like, she should have just played it off. You know, acted like nothing's wrong or something.
She just wanted to hang out in this place and find some new things.
I just wanted to dress up as a lady's maid and hang out here.
And I feel like she shouldn't have changed it. Like, change her cake. Because immediately, once Eloise finds something, she goes ahead and tries to make a change. Wouldn't that make her even more suspicious?
Yeah, we'll see. And you know, I really like how this season, Eloise gets real investigating done. Because unlike last season where she's just writing in her journal and coming up with ideas, this time she's doing something about it.
And even the queen, she's getting smarter too. Because she told Edwina that, hey, if anyone around you wants to dig into your gossip, make sure you tell me who they are.
Yeah.
If you stayed with us till this point, be sure to leave us a horse emoji. I feel like it represents this episode really well. Off to the races.
If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button to get more Bridgerton reaction from us.
And don't forget to give us a like if you enjoyed this video and ring that notification bell to get all of the updates.
Follow us on Instagram at PLEB and Nameless. We have lots of exclusive content for you there.
See you guys next time on Lifestyle of the Plebe and Nameless.
Bye.
Bye.